thedailymass.com. Experience the Roman Catholic Mass from historic St. Louis Cathedral every day on thedailymass.com. His love, anywhere in the world.
Good evening, I'm Sarah McDonald.
And I'm Jason Angelette. Welcome to Issues in Faith.
Well, we have made an announcement this week from the Archdiocese that is
very difficult.
Very difficult. On Tuesday night, Dr. Lancaster announced to the parents at Cathedral Academy that the school would be closing effective the 2013-2014 school year.
And this is the only school that's closing this school year, correct?
Yes, it is.
And this is from the strategic planning meeting that took place.
Yes, it's a result of the 2-year process of the strategic plan. The strategic plan set up a very objective criteria for schools to make recommendations for schools that should be closed. Cathedral did not fit in into those parameters, namely in that they have a very low enrollment, and low enrollment translates to higher cost of education per child and creates other issues. Their facilities are older, a little bit more run down, and so based on all the criteria and the situation, the Archbishop and Dr. Lancaster together made the decision after much consultation that we have to recommend to close Cathedral.
And this is not a reflection of the teacher's performance or the children. This is something that's completely outside of all those parameters. That this was something that as you were saying, that was on the strategic planning, that they had to make some cuts, make some changes, and they unfortunately were in that lineup for that. Yeah,
there are two primary indicators from the strategic plan. One is if that enrollment is below 200, and the other is if you have extremely low test scores. Cathedral does not have extremely low test scores. They are not what would be considered on the public side a failing school. As a matter of fact, the teachers that are there are extremely dedicated. Many people in the city,
fantastic.
Right? Yeah. Many people in the city would recognize the Dominican Sisters of St. Celia, who have staffed the school, managed the school for several years now, brought the school back post-Katrina. So it has a very special place. We were doing some research earlier this week. We found that the first parochial school associated with the cathedral was actually opened in 1914, so it's had a lot of different incarnations since then. So it has a long history in the French Quarter, but it got to the point where we needed to be able to provide more opportunities for the students at Cathedral. So at St. Stephen's School Uptown, there is a place for every child. St. Stephen's has agreed to take any child from Cathedral who wants to attend there. They have openings for all 150 children or so. But parents were given last night the information on all of the Catholic schools in Orleans Parish.
Yeah, that was my question, so what does that mean for them? I mean, here they have their school closing. Now what are they supposed to do? So there's some very clear guidance of how they can move their child into the next school year.
Definitely. We wanted to make a plan, put a plan in place to allow for a smooth transition should they want to take the option of going to St. Stephen. But again, the Office of Catholic Schools is going to work directly with parents, individually with parents, to help them make a selection for a school that would be best for them, best suit their family based on geography, the number of children they have in their family, whatever their specific needs are. The Office of Catholic Schools is ready to work with those families. And as you mentioned before, it's the only school closing this year. There were several schools on a recommended list prior to the start of the school year. We experienced a very stable enrollment this year, partially due to the Scholarship for Excellence program from the state. So
very successful program.
Very successful program that is being challenged in the court of law right now. So we're waiting to see how that plays out. But because we had this influx of scholarship students, a number of the schools that were on that list experienced significant growth. A number of schools that were maybe on the list were serving specific populations or in a geographic area that even when the primary indicators weren't met, we didn't feel like it was prudent to close those schools at this time. But schools will be reviewed annually to make sure that they remain viable, that they're providing high quality education in an authentically Catholic environment, which is the most important part about our schools. So,
Amen to that.
So we want to ask everyone to pray for the students and their families at Cathedral Academy right now. We know this change is going to cause some angst.
Sure.
There was some anger this week, obviously. There were very high emotions this week. But we want to pray for them, as well as the Sisters of St. Celia, the Dominican Sisters of St. Celia, and all of the faculty.
Yeah.
Well, while the global church celebrates a year of faith here in New Orleans, we are going to spend 2013 celebrating the year of family and faith. Mario Sacasa of the Family Life Apostolate joins us tonight to talk about the reasons and the planning going into the 2013 celebration.
Mario, it is great to be with you again. God bless you.
Thanks,
how's the family?
We're doing well.
The family's doing well.
We're sure doing well.
Speaking of family, we're going for the year of faith and family for the Archdiocese.
That's right.
Tell us about that and how that came to be.
Yeah, well, it came about out of really a desire from the priest's perspective to be able to do a year that really focuses on the family and encourages families and blesses them. And so the Archbishop loved the idea so much that certainly he wanted to do this and say, all right, let's dedicate 2013 to be a year in the Archdiocese dedicated specifically for families. And then after he came up with the idea for the Year of the Family, the Holy Father came up with saying, let's dedicate the year to the faith. And so when Archbishop Reed looked at that, I thought it was just a really neat idea, just providence, working out to say, let's just make it a year of family and faith.
Yes.
To time with what the Universal Church also is doing, but to take it just one step further and to have just more of a focus on how family life integrates into the faith life of the Church.
It's huge. I mean, the Archbishop calling the year of family, and then just recently our Holy Father, Pope Benedict XVI, mentioned that the crisis in faith is associated with the crisis in family, and I guess you say vice versa, like as the family goes, and so goes the faith.
That's
in a
right.
sense. So tell us about that. Tell us more. What kind of insights come from that?
Well, I think, as both of us know, that we're working in family ministry. That the transmission of the faith primarily happens through families, does it not? Right? I mean, the Church is there to educate and to support, but the Church clearly states that the family, the parents, are the primary educators of the faith. Yeah. And so the faith, the great gift of faith, the great gift of kids being able to know who God is and have a relationship with Jesus and come to fall into just a deeper love and appreciation of the Lord and faith life within them comes primarily through parents. Yes. And then the Church is there to support them. And so then, as parents, we raise our kids and then we give them back to the Church. And so there is this real symbiotic relationship, so to speak, between family life and faith life. And so the Church goes far as to say that John Paul II goes far as to say, that families are domestic churches. They're little churches. Yeah. The little places where kids get to know and first experience the love of the Lord within their hearts. I
remember hearing that John Paul II actually said that his family, he called his family domestic seminary, that his vocation to the priesthood came from first from the development and growth that took place in his own family. So how then the crisis in vocations is again associated with the crisis that's going on in the family.
That's right, Jason.
Well, tell us too about what are maybe some of the big stumbling blocks. I mean, we know in our heart, I think if you pulled anybody in the pew and said, how important do you think faith is for family? I'm sure they're going to say it's top priority. But I think sometimes when we look at what we do and some of the things that we find important, maybe that list doesn't look the same. We've got different priorities for different things.
I would say one of the big stumbling blocks certainly is, just like you're saying, is priorities. But I think we just live in such a busy time, and that's one of the real issues is that parents today, we're just caught between 5 or 6 different things. We got to have this activity for this one and this activity for this one, and I got to work more because of the situation with the economy. Got to be able to make more money. So parents have to work longer hours. Kids are more involved in different activities, and it's just harder to be able to squeeze some time in for faith life and for church.
Well, then now take us back into the Year of the Family. What's the goal then for the Year of the Family from the Archbishop?
I think the clear goal is renewal. Yeah. I think that's what we would like to see, is just a renewal of family life and a renewal of faith life throughout the Archdiocese. The Holy Spirit's at work here, and He's doing something, and the Archbishop sees it, and clearly just wants to call people back to the Church and say, the Church has a real place, and it's relevant in today's day and age, and it's a necessary, vital tool to sustainability of family life. And so really it's just a call to conversion, a call to renewal, to say, hey, let's reprioritize our lives. Let's look at our lives, and this is what the Holy Father is calling for us in Year of Faith, is to say, let's just take this as a year to just hit pause and assess things and say, what really is number one?
Yeah.
You know, and where do we really go from there? And is the Lord really number one?
Yeah.
And so how do we make God number one in our hearts?
Right.
And how do we make him number one in our family life?
Yeah.
That's really, I would say, the clear goal is to
fall deeper in love with Christ. You know, like just like in marriages, where sometimes the relationship seems to kind of like dwindling down, but it's like that rekindling, to bring them back to each other, because more than likely they're in two different directions.
Right.
So to bring the family back to the faith.
Right.
What are some specific initiatives that are planned for 2013?
How long is this interview?
Yeah, right.
How much time do I have?
Give us a little mountaintop overview. What you got?
Well, we have a bunch of things that kind of fall into different categories: spiritual, service, and fun. And what we're doing is, first and foremost, we have a logo that will be that's been developed, and that there will be banners that we put out in all the parishes throughout the Archdiocese. And the logo, if you look at it, it really looks like it's a family centered around the Eucharist.
Oh, wow.
Is really what the logo is about. And so the logo clearly articulates what we're trying to do with this year, Family and Faith, is that we are one family, we are one church that comes together and prays together and breaks bread together and receives the Eucharist together. And that this one family certainly is not just, you know, the earthly family, but in connection with the communion of saints. And so initiatives that we have planned is certainly the logo as being kind of a unifying symbol, a marker to bring us all together and keep us all focused on that. We will have regular bulletin announcements and practical ways to bring the faith into family life. We're going to have regular publications and articles, in the Clarion Herald. So please, keep reading the Clarion Herald and looking into that. So we're grateful for Peter Finney and his staff to giving us some space to be able to do that. We're in development of creating an app, which would be a way for just getting into digital media and having those opportunities for Android and iPhone users. To be able to do that, as well as a website. So we're just opening up these portals and opportunities for people to stay connected with the Archdiocese and all the other things that we have planned. So we have family service days that we're trying to do. We're looking at developing some real fun family days, and then also just some other events and some other speakers will be coming in. So really, what we're trying to do is hit the gamut of doing some big key events, but then also doing little things that kind of keep families together.
Well, you talk about these different spiritual service and fun events. How is it important? Why is it important to hit all these different gamuts like that?
Because the church is relevant, and the church wants to be a relevant player in people's lives. And so we know that our life isn't just one dynamic. It's all of the above. And so being able to come together in prayer and growing more in my relationship with the Lord, being able then to give that in service to others, and then being able just to come together and have a good time is part of what it's all about also. And
especially
I think we lose
here
sight of
in
that.
New Orleans.
Amen.
We love coming together for a good time.
That's right.
Well, how about what are the priests in churches, parishes? How are they getting involved?
Well, again, the idea first came from the priests, and it came from them. And so parishes, one way that it will be involved in the parishes is during Lent, for example. We have a booklet that is being put together by our Sunday visitor. That'll be an opportunity for parishes to develop small groups to talk about this magazine and to go over the articles, and then have a faith-sharing opportunity throughout the season of Lent. Some of the service days that we're looking at hopefully will be done at the parish level, and then really just giving freedom to the parishes to take it and run with it as they see fit.
Well, you mentioned a fun day. Can you tell us a little bit about more what that fun day might involve?
I can't say too much right now. So what we'll encourage people is to stay connected, stay tuned and stay connected with us, again, through the app, through the Clarion, through the Oracle, and through the other channels of communication that we have. But to give you a little snippet of what we're hoping to do is to have a big day where we have a band come in and play some music for us, and to just have a lot of fun dancing and singing and acting goofy and having a great time. That just be a unifying event for the whole Archdiocese, both parishes and the schools.
I can imagine that'd be a great event to go to. I can't wait to hear more about that.
Absolutely, stay tuned.
Well, at the beginning of the interview, you mentioned just how busy things are, and here we are in the season of Advent. Could you tell us what families could be doing more during this season to kind of maybe just take some of those distractions and all those to-dos and maybe put some of those aside and put more emphasis and focus on the season of Lent, or Advent rather? Sure.
I think first and foremost paying attention to the readings, during Mass and the homilies that are being preached during the season, because the season itself leads us to renewal, and it's a great kickoff out in the Church in her wisdom as we lead into this year of faith. Is certainly that, just being able to take time to reflect, to have time of conversation with your kids and saying, all right, how can we bring the Lord more into our lives?
That's right.
But then during the holidays also, I think so often we get busy with the shopping and the traveling and everything that sometimes we just miss what the holidays are really about, which is first and foremost, fall in love deeper with the Lord.
That's right.
But then being grateful for the great gift of our families that we have. And I know certainly everybody's got family issues and people may be coming from situations that are more difficult than others. But just being able to pause and to say, all right, my family's good, and just try, more than anything else during this holiday season, to try to just enjoy one another.
Mario, thank you so much for being with us. God bless you in all that you're doing. I'm sure we'll have you back on and you can tell us more about all the great things that are happening for the year of the faith and family. Thank you for all that you're doing, brother. God bless you, brother.
God bless you too, Jason. Thank you.
The Year of Faith and Family will begin on the Feast of the Holy Family this year and continue through 2013. For more information, you can go online to the Archdiocesan website or call the Family Life Apostolate at 504-861-6243. This is Issues in Faith on LAE.
For the past 4 years now, a Catholic church in downtown New Orleans has been used as a gathering place for all faiths. They call it the Spirituality City Series, and it's meant to explore the things our faith have in common and to get people talking to one another. Janet Gross takes us to the latest meeting where faith meets food.
The Parish Center at Jesuit Church of the Immaculate Conception is booked on the first Tuesday of the month. They serve a light lunch, but the real meat of the gathering is the discussion, and the topics vary.
Thank you. Wow. Normally they don't have me do this unless I'm cooking.
Featured speakers, Catholic and non-Catholic, talk about themselves, the city, and the diverse culture and spirituality we have here in the New Orleans area. It's a discussion sponsored by the Loyola Institute for Ministry, the Catholic Bookstore, and this church.
And the idea from it came from the architecture of the Jesuit church, which includes Jewish images, Arabic images, as well as Arabic motifs and Stars of David, as well as obviously Christian images. And so the church itself embodies interreligious dialogue. And so the point of this is to bring people of all faiths and all backgrounds together to reflect on their spiritual traditions so that we can learn from each other.
On this Tuesday, New Orleans chef John Besh talked faith, food, and family.
That too often we're afraid of just talking about it. And people of various faiths are afraid to talk and speak of their own faith. And that we limit how much understanding we have when we don't get out there and really communicate to people. So what I want to do is it's just to give my testimony of this is who I am. And oh yes, I also have a faith component to my life that I'm proud of and that it guides me.
Noting the diversity of cultures, traditions, and religions here, he talked of the importance of keeping that family table together, eating, sharing, learning over the family dinner.
One reason why New Orleans is really special is we've held on to our faith, and we've held on to our families. We've held on to that family table. We have the only indigenous urban cuisine left in America because we adhere to these values.
Besh is one of the many leaders, performers, and celebrities talking here who see the significance of spirituality and the importance of conversation.
So this is very much a hallmark of Jesuit apostolic work, of Jesuit parishes and Jesuit schools, that we be in conversation with a lot of people, not all of whom share our same background nor our religious beliefs, but who approach different topics as we do as people of goodwill.
This free series is not a church service, but those who sponsor it say it's a community service, bringing people together.
to make people see and be aware that we are Catholics with a small c, universal, that everyone is welcome, and that you know, it's not about being Catholic. It's just about being together and working together and finding out more what we have in common than what we don't have in common.
So as they seek out similarities, the goal is to find out a little more about those around them, to talk, to listen, to learn, to open hearts and minds to other brothers and sisters of the same great God. I'm Janet Gross for Issues and Faith.
Upcoming series highlights include authors, opera singers, and a cantor from Truro Synagogue. The series is free and open to the public.
I'm here today inside historic St. Louis Cathedral, a place where WLAE has broadcast the daily Mass for more than 25 years. A recent PBS ruling ensures that this valuable service will continue on WLAE for those looking for daily inspiration, and for the many who are homebound or in our area hospitals who can't attend Mass. But in order to continue to provide the Mass every day, we need your financial support now more than ever. I'm asking you to please consider donating today. We have numerous partnership opportunities available. For as little as $32 a month, you can help fund the televising of the Daily Mass, a program that lifts the spirit and enriches the lives of so many of our viewers. And for a donation of $50 or more, we will send you this beautiful signed poster of St. Louis Cathedral as our gift. Please send your contributions to WLAE TV, 3330 North Causeway Boulevard, Metairie, Louisiana 7002, or to donate online, log on to WLAE.com and click on the picture of St. Louis Cathedral. For more information on partnership opportunities, call 504-866-7411. At WLAE, we've worked hard to keep the Mass on the air. Now we need your financial support to keep it going. I know that you'll help us if you can. Thank you, and God bless.
Some 15 years ago, Archbishop Hughes began a tradition of a yearly Mass for victims and survivors of violence. This healing Mass was to ask God to comfort and to stand with those who are suffering. This annual event once again has brought grieving loved ones to the altar. Janet Gross has the story.
This time of healing is not a one-time event. It's a struggle that goes on and on. But this is a special day, a day of recognition, of remembrance, of release. Cookie and Bill Hansel have come to this Mass year after year for their daughter, who was killed 17 years ago, for themselves, for others left with the broken hearts of violence and murder. They say God gets them through.
Keeping our faith, keeping our faith. I've prayed from day one that this happened for justice to be served and to show us the way and the correct way in our faith.
By the church doing this, they bring a lot of the victims together to share their stories, and we have friendships with these people, and they all look forward to coming to this Mass also.
And to those of you who have been touched by the death of a loved one, with you we are in solidarity today, and we ask God to give you the comfort and the hope that you desire and that God promises in His own time.
Many of those who've taken a stand against crime stand here with those who shoulder the burden of being a victim, of being a survivor.
And I think we just have to remind ourselves through events like this, through this wonderful Mass, that the victims of crime really matter and that we can never lose sight of our need to protect them.
But it's mainly to let the society know and let these people know that the Roman Catholic Church cares about them. You know, we want to truly be with them and help them during this hard time, knowing that this never goes away, but some spiritual involvement will ease the pain just somewhat.
That's what helps Thais Cook. Her 15-year-old daughter was murdered in April.
I know that the Lord took her with Him. So this is awesome for me.
And while praying for an end to the violence, murder, and racism in the city, the Archbishop also prays for these aching hearts.
And if you look at those pictures again, with the eyes of faith, you will see not just your loved one, but in that picture, will also see Jesus, comforting and loving your loved one who has been hurt but who has lost their lives. Look at the picture again, and with the eyes of faith, you will see two people in that picture.
And as they place their pictures before the altar and their pain before God, they find comfort in His promises and in those who stand with them here today. I'm Janet Gross for Issues and Faith.
The Archbishop says we should all take a stand against violence, murder, and racism. As part of this stand, the Church has made over 5,000 yard signs available that simply read, "Thou shalt not kill." If you have a question for us and or idea that you'd like to see on air, please write to us at Issues in Faith, 3330 North Causeway Boulevard, Suite 345, Metairie, Louisiana 7002, or you can email us at questions@WLAE.com. Plus, if you missed an episode, you can catch up online at www.archdiocese-no.org. And that's our program for this evening. For all of us at Issues in Faith, thanks for watching. We'll be back next week. Hope you join us again soon. Until then, God bless.